I used to be alone. I was poor, bad-looking, and completely broke.
And I definitely wasn't the life of the party.
I searched everywhere for products, but I couldn't seem to find anything that worked for me.
Now, I have Product 2.0. I couldn't be happier.
Now, I'm attractive, and I always get what I want.
You now want this product, even though you know I'm not real, or am I?
So guys, we have to talk about AI marketing. That ad for Product 2.0 took me about 2 hours and about 70, 80 bucks to make using some AI tools online, which I'll show you coming up here shortly. Meanwhile, a typical project with an actor or influencers, a set, all of the equipment necessary to do it, not to mention the scenes, costs thousands and thousands of dollars. So doing it with AI just seems to make more sense. And companies all over the world are doing this right now. You see it on your feed, you see it everywhere you go. And whether or not it hits the uncanny valley button on you like it does for me, I really think that it's here to stay. But there are quite a few qualms, to say the least, that I have with this approach. I'll make those critiques here, and we'll talk a bit about why I think it's here to stay despite its quirks and oddities. I'll also show you how I made that Product 2.0 ad here, and what tools I used to do so, and generally how much it costs. Finally, we'll talk a little bit about how I think this is actually an indicator of the future of humanity. And that might sound a little bit dramatic, but I hope I can kind of give you a glimpse of what I'm talking about here by the end. So stick around. If you're new here, my name is Marshall Tootin, and I'm here to help you understand and implement the latest technology and tools without needing technical skills. Whether you're a business owner, or you're a consultant, or you're just plain curious, you'll want to subscribe to the channel and drop your information here in one of the links in the description, in order to work with us and to become part of the community that we're building here at Infinite Growth. What really spurred my interest in this topic was seeing so many different ads on Instagram, sometimes on YouTube as well, showing products and services that are clearly AI advertisements. Now, I don't necessarily have a problem with all of these advertisements. I think there's a few situations in which AI can be successfully implemented in marketing. However, I think in more cases than not, there are more risks associated with using it than benefits. Let me show you an example that I recently encountered on LinkedIn.
All right, let's get real for a second. I've tried way too many lip balms, and most of them, well, let's just say my lips were more chapped chic than anything else. But then I found this little gem. My lips are now soft, smooth, and actually look like I take care of them. Who knew? Honestly, I never thought I'd get compliments on my lips, but here we are.
Okay, so I can tell you that if I'm a business, especially if I have a physical product, something like a lip balm, you show me this, and under no circumstances am I going to pay you to make a video like this. Under no circumstances am I going to put my product on it and put it out there to the world. The thing is that there are businesses doing this, and there's a few reasons why they're doing it. Primarily, it's algorithmic, and it has to do with numbers. When you're running ads and you're putting information out into the world onto these platforms, what you really are trying to do is get the most exposure to the most amount of people as possible, and also gain analytics and information from who's watching it, when they're watching it, how long they're watching it, and if they've clicked the link to go in and buy your product. That's really what this is about. It's about garnering your attention, capturing it, keeping you there, and getting you to click a link to go in and buy a product. If we go in and we look at what this actually was, I found it on LinkedIn. This is somebody claiming that Google's Nano Banana, which is the video generation tool, has changed marketing forever because you can just make ads like this. You can just pump these bad boys out. And it's really true. You can. The thing is it's very clear that this person is, who knows, this was probably even written by AI. But the whole point is that they're pitching you on commenting so that they can send you this workflow guide, which they're saying, by the way, that there's a way to make AI actors hold your actual product and look 100% real. If you think that last video looked 100% real and convincing, then you're either legally blind or you have no idea what AI-generated content looks like. You've got to be at least over 50 years old. Not to mention, you just have to not care that the product itself doesn't look good in the advertisement. And this person's claiming that this is the exact workflow that was used to create product videos that customers can't tell are AI generated. Clearly not true. We can see that right now. The thing is, these videos and images are really not that hard to make. They certainly can be expensive though. One of the main tools I used here is Artlist, which gives you access to multiple image, video, audio generation tools with AI that can all just be prompted through adding images and sending text prompts. What I simply did is I used one of my favorite LLMs here, which is called Perplexity. Highly recommend to check out Perplexity if you haven't already, if you're using just like a Claude or GPT. And I gave it my ad idea. And so what I did is I told it, hey, that I want to have multiple scenes and transitions. I want to make sure I can properly create them and flow them together. Will you help me get each section of this into words that I can then feed into my video generator? Are you ready? This is how I like to speak with LLMs and really help them kind of get into a role play of what I'm looking for, which is one of the most important factors of creating good prompts. So we did that here and went on and on for quite a while to create the right storyline and prompting technique in order to generate what are a bunch of different videos here. Now, I want to be clear, it's not just lickety-split easy for these. It does take some time and multiple iterations to get the right breakdown and have it look right. I had multiple mistakes where, for example, the character was different in some of them and where he just looked too different from what I had described, right? This guy looks like Steve Carell, which I thought was hilarious. So at the end of the day, it does take some work. It takes some back and forth. It takes some careful prompting and being really specific about what you're trying to get. Now, I will say one of the interesting things about Artlist is that though it connects you with multiple tools, there is a very big limit on the actual size of the prompts. If you just go right into Google VO, you're going to be able to write out longer, more specific prompts, but here you get stopped at 100 to 350 words. So that can definitely help depending on what you're trying to generate. But when you're trying to be specific and you're trying to create images that are very particular and you want them to be able to be complex enough to carry information, but also simple enough to actually catch the eye and not be too overwhelming, you really need to be able to work with that prompt. And if you get limited here like Artlist does, that can sometimes stop you. At the end of the day, I'm always going to recommend that any kind of tool that you go in and look at, you look at multiple, because one of them could cost quite a lot and be limited in some ways, whereas you might have only needed one part of another tool. Just always do your research and find the tool that works best for what you are trying to do. So the two main reasons that companies are using videos like this, or are at least trying, is volume of views and also in order to test analytics and information. So let me give you an example. Let's take a company that goes out and they have a lip balm that they want to advertise to their customer base. They could create a video like this, or they could create 10 videos like this, all of them having different hooks, different openings, different scripts, and different positionings of the product. They can send those out into multiple platforms and they can test which ones get the best engagement, or at least seem to get the best engagement. Not only that, but they can go out and they could create a bunch of different versions of it without having to pay an influencer a piece of the pie. But there's something I've been learning in this AI marketing and sales space that I really want to share with you. The fact is that it's very much a bubble. And I don't mean an economic bubble. I mean, everybody who's in it, creating the content for it, creating the ads, working with the tools, are all talking to each other. And I really don't feel that companies or advertisers are paying enough attention to how consumers are actually feeling about the product and what they think about these ads. I don't know about you, but anytime I see ads like this, I make fun of them. I send them to my family and friends so that we can roast them. And I certainly would not buy the product. But I sent this out to several women I know in my life, and all of them responded saying that they would perceive the brand as less reputable and they would be less likely to buy the product. And obviously there's reasons for that. The first reason I think is that I think it feels lazy. It feels like a company is unwilling to put in the necessary effort to actually connect with the consumer that they're trying to sell the product to. And nobody wants to buy a product that they don't feel they can relate to or that they feel doesn't solve a problem that they have. The second one is that it can create a negative association. What I mean by this is that unless your demographic is pursuing people older than 60, these are the generation of people on Facebook believing the fake AI videos. Unless that's your demographic, you're putting yourself in a position to be negatively associated with an ad or a video that doesn't reflect something good upon your brand, but just reflects cringe. In fact, I could see an ad being just enough in the uncanny valley or just off enough for people to share and interact with it, but have those shares and interactions not actually reflect interest in your product, but reflects distaste and negative association. Now, there are some exceptions where I think these AI marketing tools can be extremely useful. One is for digital products. If you have a digital product where you can invoke some kind of emotion or feeling using these tools without having to have a person pretending to be real to have it, then you could use it to your advantage, definitely. You can also use these generative tools for images. There's a lot less room for error, and people will just get what they see there. It's less chance that you're going to have something that makes people feel odd watching it or feel off. And finally, anything that makes it clear that this is AI, this is for AI, this is an AI product, this is an AI related process or tool. It makes sense to use AI for those ads, clearly. But if you're looking at a physical or experiential product, these types of marketing tactics, I believe, are going to blow up in the face of the companies that try to use them, especially the ones that try to use them at scale and try to use them to skip steps and save money. At the end of the day, if you want to successfully implement AI, especially in your marketing, you need to know your customer. And in order to know your customer, you need to have somebody who can relate to them. And that is, in my opinion, truly a human quality that requires that special touch, that requires attention to detail that AI just cannot replicate. But all of this really does strike a chord with me. Over the last 10 years, I've really noticed our society is being separated into two distinct groups. Group one, you could describe as those who create and those who live. The second group is those who consume and those who are just existing, being part of the matrix, the literal matrix, where all you do all day is sit on your electronics or be in whatever space you're in, consume, view content, buy products, engage in the algorithm, and you get stuck there because that's how your mind works. That's how you connect with the economy. It's how you connect with other people. And I want to be frank, I am a believer in the positive impacts of social media, but we've clearly seen decades later the negative impacts of social media, and we're clearly going to see that with AI as well, but on an even larger scale that we can't even fathom as a society at this point. I'm a firm believer that because of the progress of artificial intelligence and its integration into business, society, communities, our personal lives, that we as human beings will need to be even more intentional about putting ourselves into situations with real human creativity and real human connection with the actual world in front of us, the world that we live in. As time goes on, depending on which path you go down here, that's either going to become harder or easier for you. Those who live and create will be able to use these tools to enhance their day-to-day lives, to enhance their businesses, to make it easier to do the tasks that actually make you more free and less dependent and reliant upon systems and technology that keep you subjugated and keep you unhappy. This is why a big part of my mission with Infinite Growth and my work is to grow humans' capacity to have these types of real experiences and also learn how to use the tools and technology that we have to our benefit without letting them take away your freedom and your ability to experience life to the fullest. This is why I'm going to continue to be vocal and releasing content and creating events and opportunities specifically curated for people who are ambitious and people who want to be on the right side of history in this massive technological and societal revolution that is happening in front of our eyes. I want to help you and those you know develop the mindset, attitude, discipline, and skills necessary to live and create, not just to consume and not just to survive. I'd love to invite you this coming December in 2025 to join me and a group of really ambitious and connected individuals from all walks of life in Thailand. This is an event that I've been developing and working on with one of my good friends, Ethan, who's an incredible coach. I've dropped a link in the description here if you'd like to be kept in the loop with early announcements and to continue to be a part of this community, as well as learning about the event in Thailand in December. If you're interested in the event in Thailand in December, go ahead into the link in the description below and check it out and learn a little bit more about the event there. I hope that you've been able to get some value from this. If you have, share it with somebody you know. And if you're a business or consultant who wants to get more involved in understanding how to implement these AI tools into your business, go ahead and visit the link in the description and connect with us there. I'm excited to continue to make content and be vocal about what I believe are the important things that humanity does with AI technology and keeping us away from that path that makes society worse. Thanks for joining me today. We'll see you on the next one.